Before we get into today's episode, I want to talk about our sponsors over at Bryght. Leading the industry with all natural bleaching products, this company knows how to protect your client's skin both in and out of the treatment room. As estheticians, we already know hyperpigmentation is one of the top concerns in our industry, and that it really starts with tackling the problem beforehand, which means using SPF not just once, but regularly throughout the hot days. Florida people, where you at? I'm thrilled to be talking about Bright's Block Mineral Sunscreen this summer, and being one of my favorite products, you know I don't gatekeep these things. This is a non-nano sunscreen stick that can be tossed in your bag during your busy days and applied underneath and also on top of makeup. This is my favorite sunscreen to have on handy for those, oh crap, I forgot to apply sunscreen on Roman days. My favorite highlight of Block is that it leaves zero white cast on the skin, doesn't burn my eyes at the beach, and can even be worn as a lip sunscreen and avoiding those lime chemical burns. Your clients are already repping some kind of sunscreen this summer, so make sure it's one that you approve of as their esthetician and one that can be applied as easy as 1, 2, 3. And you know I'm coming in hot with the exclusive code just for you. So being a part of the Waxing Podcast means that you get this amazing product for 10% off using the code TWP. So go check out more information. It's at the link below. And let's kick hyperpigmentation's ASS this summer for you and our clients. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Waxing Podcast. I am Kirsten. I am your host, and I am so excited to be bringing on our next guest, who is Holly, the founder of Looking and Feeling Fab. She is somebody who started an organization to help the beauty community, and I am so excited to have you on today.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here as well because one of my favorite things is talking about our organization, and I love the beauty profession. And so I'm so happy to that you asked me to come on, and I'm happy to educate everybody about us and what we do.
I'm so excited. So there's so much that I want to dig into with you. And the reason that I found Looking and Feeling Fab is because I had estheticians reach out to me once I asked a question on my Instagram about where do we give back in our community. I think it's really important to, not only help people in a social media platform way, we give away tips and tricks and things like that, but to actually be able to make an impact. And so your company was named quite a few times. So I really want to dive into a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So, I myself have multiple sclerosis. I've actually had it for 24 years, but I'm doing very well. And I also have sarcoidosis, which is a lung disease. And I was actually diagnosed with that when I was in aesthetic school. And so, because of the two autoimmune diseases, my doctors felt the best form of treatment was chemotherapy. So I have an infusion every 6 months, and it's worked wonders for me. You can't even tell anything's wrong with me. My doctors tell me that I'm beating all the odds and everything. But I did develop a really bad rash on my back. And I went to the doctor and I said, the medicine's working great. I feel really good, but I get this really bad rash on my back. And he kind of looked at me and kind of looked around the room. And then he said to me, "Wait, you're an esthetician, right?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Great." And I said, "Great what?" And he said, "Well, you should know what to do. Isn't that what you do, deal with the skin?" I thought, you got to be kidding me. So at the time, they had just developed the oncology aesthetics programs. Me and my husband flew to Arizona. And to this day, I have no idea why, but I was so inspired that I came back and I said, I'm going to start a nonprofit, not knowing anything about nonprofits. But I had this crazy idea, and so many people were like, "You're crazy. You don't know what you're doing." So I bought a book and I met a few key people along the way, and I ended up applying. And when I got the envelope, I turned and looked at my husband. He said, "My God, you're as white as a ghost. What's the matter? You didn't get it?" And I said, "No, I did." And he goes, "You look like you're going to pass out." And I said, "Because now I really don't know what the hell I'm doing."
I think that's so amazing.
Yeah, so it's been quite a learning experience. I don't know why, but I was so determined to make it work because I had so many people against me that I'm just stubborn like that. And I'm like, no, this is gonna succeed. And so we started seeing patients going through cancer treatment, and then we met a few people along the way and did some amazing things for people's skin. That, one key person that we had was on immunotherapy that was pretty much saving her life. She had these terrible skin reactions. She wanted to go off the medication, and that could have been fatal consequences for her. And we were able to help her, and her doctor runs a cancer center and took notice and just kind of built from there. In the beginning, we were given everything free away. Like, we gave products, we gave treatments. And then, like, probably a couple of years into it, we did get a call from our treasurer who said, like, it's over. We're done. And so I went home and I contemplated, and my sister's roommate came over and said, Holly, you know how many times people dig for gold and they drop the hammer not to know they would have hit gold the next day? So I said,
Oh,
well,
that's such a
that's good.
powerful quote.
Yeah, and me and my husband are going away. So I said, well, I'll do some soul searching and I'll talk to him. And on the last day of vacation, his phone rang and he said, it's for you. And I said, really? Like, I'm on the last day of my vacation. Like, I'll call him tomorrow. And he's like, no, you really need to take this. And I got on the phone, and unbeknownst to me, he had nominated me for the Meyercraft Community MVP Award through the New England Patriots, and we got a $10,000 grant. So I said,
Oh,
well, that's my answer.
Yeah,
And so,
that is so, I mean, it's so powerful because you're trying to do something so good for the community and for something that you're genuinely passionate about, but having something like, these stops and pushes, and it's, trying to like take you away from your expertise and like what you want to become. It's like frustrating. And so how cool to get like something as good as a grant to help put you back in
yeah.
the game and get you some skin in the game.
Yeah, so then we kind of revamped everything, and we made programs where we give a limited amount of free treatments, and we approached different facilities and asked if they would donate the space instead of us paying for a location. We worked with our skincare companies that, have a big stake in that charity, and they donate and support us. And so it just ended up working. And now we have 5 locations in Massachusetts, 1 in Arizona, 1 in California, and 1 in Illinois. And we're trying to spread out. So it was funny when I first started, I thought estheticians are going to see what I'm doing and think, that's so cool. I want to do that too. And that never happened. So I was like, well, I guess it's our job. Like, we have to expand. We're trying to, and that's another thing, is that we're looking for people who are interested in, working with oncology clients to spread it all over the country. I mean, the services can be offered to everybody who needs them. Skin issues were the #1 and 2 reported side effect of cancer treatment, and nobody talks about it. It amazes me. It's like, how can that be the largest organ in your body and nobody wants to acknowledge it? And so we really, go ahead.
Oh, no, I wanted to talk a little bit deeper before we go into what you were going to say. Is just like, I want to know exactly like, so who, because you said you were looking for more people to help, spread the community around, it seems like all over. So who exactly are you treating, right? Who exactly is the charity treating? And then also like, who would you be looking for and what would they be doing?
Yeah, so we exclusively treat people who are going through cancer treatments. There are a number of different side effects that happen. Obviously, we know scars and skin grafts. The skin actually only grows to about 80% the strength of normal skin. And so we really need to, build up the integrity, because on the other side of that, we have had people who 10 years after surgery, their scars open up. It's the craziest thing.
mm,
And so we really help to kind of build up the integrity of the skin. And then with like chemotherapy, a lot of rashes, hives, different types of sores and whatnot can happen with chemotherapy. Radiation, they say 85% of people who undergo radiation end up with a moderate to severe burn, which is so crazy to me that in this day and age that people are suffering. And like, I've had people call me in tears, like, the top layer of my skin just fell off.
Ugh.
This is no joke. And it's like, when I tell estheticians, like, anybody can come into a spa and spend a ton of money, but when you help somebody in the fight of their life, you'll never get the appreciation like you do from them. And it's just so rewarding. People
I
would
was gonna
think
say
it was,
it's so fulfilling.
yeah, people would think that like it would be hard because you might lose people, but I tell people there's so much hope now. And probably in my 8 years of doing this, I probably lost like a handful of people. And so there are so many people now that live with metastasized cancer and all different types of stuff. And so, us bringing them relief is such a great way to like just lessen the burden some. And the most feedback that we get is that we made them feel normal again. And so we really tout that we not only work on their skin, but we provide a safe space where they can come and talk about whatever they need to. And, we abide by the HIPAA guidelines. So it's just worked. And I've been blessed to have practitioners come on board that have been amazing, that I said they're the ones that make me look good. Like, I'm very fortunate for that. To answer your question, we are looking for people to support us. Obviously, although it's a great thing, it is a business and we do have to have money in order to be able to do it. But we also look for volunteers, or even we're starting to figure out programs where if people want to work under the charity to see cancer patients in their location, and how will that work, and how do we get so that we can use our experience here in Massachusetts and use that to leverage in other parts of the country.
Well, it sounds like you have definitely places that you're going. Like you said, you just expanded. I mean, 5 locations in Massachusetts, it's already so accomplishing. But then already to have, a place in Illinois, and you said California and Arizona, like it's so amazing. And I always can't help but say, like, when you went to aesthetic school, did you in your wildest dreams think that this is where you would be now?
Oh my God, no. And the funniest thing of all is my background is in law enforcement.
No.
So my husband's a retired Boston cop, and I worked for the state police for many years as a dispatcher. So I always thought that that would be my life. But when I went to aesthetic school, it was like, I can't explain what it was, but it was like life changing. And then to be able to do like, I love people and I love to help people. I've always been like that. And so to be able to do that in like an actual functioning capacity is like, oh my God, I wouldn't change it for the world. And it helps me as well because, maybe I'm feeling bad, or, and then somebody calls me with some serious skin reactions who's also battling cancer, and their husband has cancer and they lost their job. And I put down the phone and I go, what right do I have to complain after hearing that? So it helps me to put things in perspective as well.
I was gonna say, I think, by hearing all of these stories, it's so impactful to know that, people are out there struggling in a really, really hard way. And although you struggled though, and I know you said that you're great and you're better, but you do have that empathy in you that you know exactly what they're going through. And I think that really relates to what makes your charity so much better than others, because you get to put yourself in the shoes of once, what that felt like, and how the impact, right? Like you
Right.
I'm assuming healed your rash yourself as
Yes.
an
Yes.
esthetician. So
Yeah.
you understand the impact that an esthetician can do, but then, you get to be on the other side of it where you understood what it felt like to have that skin be relieved of something that maybe you didn't want to wear a shirt that showed your back or showed, any area that the rash was on. And so I just find it I just find it so fulfilling what you do. And
Thank you.
people that want to volunteer now, I'm assuming they have to be in the areas of Massachusetts, Illinois. Arizona and California, right?
Yeah, some things we do online. We have done like fundraisers, like scratch ticket fundraisers, or we every January we do a calendar of prizes, and we try to make it so that we get things that are like all over the country, like Walmart gift cards or Target gift cards, and so we sell the calendars. I think they're $20, and then you can win a prize every day in January, and all that money goes to the paying for the treatments. So that's one thing. So if they like us on Facebook, we always advertise on there. The other thing is that I did create an oncology course. It's a 5-hour course based on my experiences. And we use a lot of testimonials, before and after pictures, obviously with the client's permission. And we educate estheticians how to safely work on cancer patients. And so all that money that we make from that goes into funding the treatments free for other people. Any way to support that, or
That's
different
such an
things like
important
that.
class too.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't see that being offered in many places. And I do feel like when somebody does undergo any sort of cancer treatment, they're always on the fence about beauty services because they want to make sure that the person taking care of them truly understands just how vulnerable their skin is compared to somebody who is not on those medications and taking those treatments and doing even remission stuff, right? So like
Absolutely.
how impactful to do that. I think as an esthetician, it's always important to educate yourself on any type of skin, whether or not you see it every day or not. It only takes that one time someone comes in and asks you where you can feel really good about being confident about being able to take care of them.
Yeah, exactly. And that's basically what I came up with, is that training that is affordable to estheticians who are working in spas where we know the cancer patient is coming in. And it's to prevent them from having to turn them away and knowing how to select products. I mean, the craziest thing is we don't want to put a product with cancer causing ingredients on somebody who's battling cancer, which you would think would be common sense, but common sense isn't so
Well, and
common
you would think it
anymore.
wouldn't
So,
exist, which is the
right,
unfortunate thing
right,
too. You're
right,
like,
right,
it's sad that we
right.
have to depict like
It is
skincare,
sad.
like that's
Right.
another problem.
Yes, yes.
Another
And
another
so,
podcast.
yeah, exactly. And so we, really vet the products and we scrutinize every ingredient. And so we teach them, even if they don't have a say in what products they have available, how the best way to choose the products. And then, we just talk about everything that can happen with the skin that we've seen with different modalities. And then we talk about, doing an intake and people's psych and different, process that they go through when they're undergoing treatment for cancer, as well as products and protocols. And, we do like scenarios, as I break everybody up into groups of like two, and then we all read the scenarios and go over what type of treatment plan they would create, and then that is the test to earn the certificate. Yeah, so it's been great. I've had people say to me like, "Well, who accredits your course?" I'm like, "Well, my experience does. Like, it doesn't need to be like I just go through everything that we've established, and we have clients who have made testimonial videos for us and allowed us
Yeah.
to show."
And we're going in 2024, though, I think, and I hope that for your benefit, is a lot of people are now understanding like listening to your fellow estheticians is sometimes better than the credited courses. I mean, for me, I've never learned so much in my esthetician 12-year lifespan than I have outside of school.
I
Because you
agree.
get the people that have the real experience that see like this specific type of skin. And it's really hard to find that in a school setting in like a book.
I agree. I totally 100% agree. And I think it's important too to feel the impact on people when you can hear it from people who've actually been through it. And the great thing is that we've actually developed methods where we pre-treat people prior to radiation, prior to surgery. We found like huge steps in increased healing, less time in between if they need multiple surgeries, and the healing of the area just is incredible. And so we've been very fortunate about that. We've also had opportunities in our own lives. Like my husband had some basal cell removed from his ear, and they told him to use Vaseline on the area. So I said, my God, like I need to educate them. And I went into the hospital with him when he had the procedure, and I said, they're either going to kick me out or they're going to listen to me. Like, we'll see what happens. And so, but the doctor was very open to what I had to say. I brought him booklets that showed like before and afters and talked about better product choices and whatnot. And when the nurse came in, she said, I've been given strict orders, no Vaseline. I'm like, okay, great. That's awesome. So I think
That's
like the one of the
amazing.
most yeah, rewarding things for me is to see people actually acknowledge that what we have done. And so, one of the greatest compliments, Dana-Farber is the world-renowned hospital in Boston that treats cancer, and they actually started referring people to me. I had a lady and I said, what did they tell you about the program? And she said, well, they didn't have that much information, but they told me it was really something that I should take advantage of, and that it was an excellent program, and you guys really knew what you were doing. I was like, wow, all right.
I think it sounds like you need to go in and train the staff.
Yeah, we have been invited for in a couple of hospitals to train the nursing staff. So that's like incredible advancement as well. So I do feel like people are starting to come around the corner where they're starting to look at treating the whole person as opposed to just beating the cancer.
Yeah, and we live in such a time too where we're all online. Like you and I are able to
Yeah.
communicate today on a Monday at 10 a.m. being in two completely different locations. So it just gives me so much hope that you're going to be able to do this on like a bigger scale, like virtually. Maybe you train nursing people in Florida where I live and you do it
Right.
online and you accredit there. And so I think there's so many really, really cool opportunities for, the purpose of your organization. And honestly, like what better fulfilling thing could you possibly do in life than give someone the feeling of looking and feeling fab?
Right. Yeah,
You
it's
know,
so rewarding. Yep, so rewarding. And it's funny because I've kind of turned into this motivational speaker, which is like, I just tell my story, but everybody says, "Oh, that was so motivating." So I hope that I can like add something to other people and maybe have them accomplish something that they might have thought that they couldn't. Or I always tell people, you can do anything you put your mind to it. And so it's just I'm living proof that, whatever you have in your head that you want to accomplish, you can do it. You can't ever let somebody stop you.
yeah, I've been in the industry for 12 years and it's harder than it looks to find somewhere to like volunteer and to donate, your money and things like that. And you think about like, all of the places that there's tons of places to donate your money, you know what I mean? But having it be given into the thing and the place where your heart is, which is the industry that you care so much about, to me, it was like a no-brainer. I was like, I need to have you on. I'm even hearing that you are the founder. I was like, yes, because I'm like,
Yeah.
it's so fun to hear the stories of our industry in this scale.
Right.
I get to talk to people that own businesses and brands and things like that. And don't get me wrong, that's so fun in itself. I'm like, to think about this episode being able to give people the vehicle to give back in their community just is so exciting for me.
Yes. And also, like, I tell people too, like, if they have somebody that, needs services and can't afford it or whatever, then, we try our best to work with them and come up with different ways that, I do teach estheticians about different ways that they can raise money to help people. Like, I tell people, like, take a basket of your favorite products and sell raffle tickets all month long to your customers, and then take all that money and put in a separate account. So when you have somebody who is going through a major life incident that needs your service, services, draw from that account. And, you can tell people that, the money was raised to be able to give this service to them. And that way you're not losing out on money, that you're still able to pay yourself from that as well. And one of the things that we started doing, because we often ask people like, we love to donate. And I know there's so much question about like, where does the money go? So what we started doing was offering people to purchase either a treatment for a cancer patient, or they can purchase a package for a cancer patient. And then if they choose, they can write a little note or a sentiment, and we would pass that on to the person who received the treatment. And that way they know that their donation is going directly to somebody, and that they are getting the services for that.
I love that. You reminded me of this time when I used to work for this woman. Her name is Rhea, and she is an incredible boss. And she offered microblading services at her waxing business. And she would randomly gift those who were coming in post cancer who had lost all of their eyebrow hair and was just struggling confidently about, looking a different way. And anyway, it was one of like the most powerful things, because they would come in, they would expect to pay, full price just like everybody else. And they would tell their story. And one of the artists would get so just taken over by emotion. Anyway, would give her like a text and would say, "Hey, like I found a client I would really love to do this for." And the client would
Yeah.
walk up and it would be completely free. And so she had what you would consider like a small fund on the side
Yeah.
for people specifically for cancer. So I love that you were saying, donate, of course, and be a part of Look and Feel Fab, but also like if you're ready to start like in your own treatment room, like there's a way to do that too.
Right, right, right. Yes, of course, of course. And I have tons of like little tricks that I tell people, like even sometimes if you have like an affluent client that you say, "Hey, would you like to sponsor somebody?" Or, if they have somebody that they know is going through cancer, maybe they wanna, pay for them to have a treatment. And that way it works as well. So there are all different kinds of ways that, we can make it work.
Yeah, I even think like just having something in the front of your retail section that says, "Hey, this month I am sponsoring so and so who, just found out that she or he has cancer, da 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 da," and like it being like a donation box that your
Right.
clients can actually put forward, and then you can match it, or you know what I
Right.
mean? Like you can figure out a way like I'm matching your donations and then sending them off. Like there really is so many ways to be
Yeah,
helpful.
yeah. Yeah, even like I tell people, network with other beauty professionals in your area and say, "Hey, for the month of July, I'm going to bank my tips this certain week. Can I count on you to join me?" And then we can come together collaboratively and pick a couple of people who could use the treatments that maybe can't afford them. And so, that's a way to kind of everybody, the community come together and work together as well.
Yeah. Okay. I have to ask you this because you started this business with just I want to do a business, and you've been figuring out all the ways that you can make an impact in your communities. Now that you said 8 years in, do you have like a 5 year plan or a 5 year goal? Like what do you think, since you've been able to like, get some fire on the on the logs?
Yeah, I think that very important to me in the next 5 years is to come up with a way that we can bring in estheticians from all over the country and support them under the FAB name, and enable them to be able to see cancer patients. So my goal is that we do a lot of networking with hospitals, as well as we talk to a lot of cancer patients as well. So I want cancer patients to be able to see our logo all over the country and say, "Okay, that is a safe place for me to go. I know because I know the logo." And so figuring out a way to connect both beauty professionals with the cancer world, and then having those services available to people all over the country.
I love that. I even think of like like, when they do like the window stickers where it says like,
Yes, exactly.
like Amex is accepted here, and like they do like the businesses have
Exactly.
one, and having one that says like Look and Feel Fab could be there. And so
Exactly.
people,
Exactly.
in the cancer community can go by a storefront and be like, they know exactly what they're doing in that place. I'm gonna go there.
Exactly. Exactly.
I
Because I've
love
heard,
that goal.
yeah, because even on the flip side, I've heard so many horror stories from cancer patients about like
Yeah.
going into places where they don't know what they're doing and they cause them harm. And like, I'm a crazy person. I'd be like on the phone with them. I'm like, tell me where you went because I need to call them. And sometimes I get good reactions. Sometimes I get bad reactions, but I don't care because I 100% believe in what I'm doing. And if I can educate somebody else, then that is excellent from preventing from hurting somebody. That's how we kind of came up with. It's just bringing that to fruition is like what we're working out how to do that.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing is you figured it out this far, and so it's just like another step in the unknown. Until I always say my favorite quote in my entire life, which seems maybe so simple to some, but I always tell myself, especially when things get really hard, is I'm like, everything is hard until it's not.
That's right. That's right.
When we
Yep.
learned how to ride a bike when we were little kids, it was so hard, but now I can ride a bike and it's not hard
Right.
anymore. And so I always think about that in a mental capacity, especially in the industry. Like everything's hard that we do. And it's only going to stay hard until we learn it and it doesn't become hard.
That's right. That's right. And it's funny because I was telling somebody a story like maybe like a year ago that when I first started, like I had no idea how to raise money. So I would go to the supermarkets like you see the cheerleaders do with my cans, and the supermarket said we could do it because we were a nonprofit. We would just talk to people and ask for them to throw change in our can, and that's how we raised a lot of money in the beginning. And me and my husband, whenever we saw like a craft fair or whatever, we would go, and I made up these like little bracelets that we sold for $5, and we would just hand out our information and talk to people. And the person started laughing and said, "Oh my God, you really did that?" And I said, well, at the time, I didn't think it was like funny. Like I was so serious about it. But now that I look back at it, like that is kind of pretty funny. Like I can't believe that I actually did that.
No, it really proves that, you'll try any avenue once, and then things work, things don't, you keep moving along. But for you, things worked. And it's an amazing thing to hear. So for people who are interested in finding more information about your profit and your nonprofit, where can they find you?
Yeah, so they can follow us on Facebook, where if they just if they just put in the search in Facebook, I think it's Look Feeling Fab in Facebook.
Mhm.
We're also on Instagram. It's Look Feel Fab org on Instagram, or they can go to our website, which is lookfeelfab.org, and then or they can reach out to me, and my email is just holly@lookfeelfab.org. And so I'm happy for anybody to reach out if they have questions or ideas that they need help with or anything, feel free. I tell people that I hate when people don't return like your emails or your messages. And so I will return it because it drives me crazy when people don't do that.
I'm I'm somebody who doesn't let my inbox get like, how there's people who have 500 messages. I'm the zero person. I'm
Yeah,
like going every day. I'm like, I can't sit here and look at something that's like red, like an icon in your iPhone that just says like
right.
500. I'm like, that gives me 100% anxiety.
And I just look at it like this person took time out of their day to reach out to me. I should have the respect to take time out of my day to respond to them.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel. So I've really made that like a important part of no matter how big this organization gets, like I need to stay on top of responding back to people who reach out.
Yeah, it's like a part of your mission statement, which is awesome.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Holly, for coming onto the podcast. I'm so beyond thankful for your time. And I loved learning about your organization. I told you when we had messaged selfishly, I wanted to learn about your organization, but I thought what a perfect way to do, kill two birds with one stone and be able to learn
Yes.
myself and then also share, the organization through the podcast.
Awesome. I love it. And anything I can do for you, please reach out. I'm happy to help any way I
Thank
can.
you.
And I'll definitely spread the word about the podcast.
Thank
And
you.
like I said, just any way that we can network or I can help, I'm happy to do whatever you need.
I need to take a moment to highlight the baddest biatch in the industry right now, which is Enso Penny Soft Wax. This wax just launched, and my friends, it is the softest soft wax on the market. It is vegan, hypoallergenic, and made for the most sensitive skin in mind. If you're an esthetician who cares so deeply for your clients and you don't want to worry about if their skin's going to get too red, if they're going to have lifting, or if they're simply worried about breaking out, I have a solution for you, and it lives on ensowax.com. This wax is flying. Go check it out on ensowax.com. And we're so excited to introduce you to Penny.